You know, in life, we're often told that we miss 100% of the shots we don't take. And while that is true, sometimes you can still miss. I don't know, I was trying to aim that there. Hey there, I'm Noodle. And usually for these videos, I'm usually inside recording whatever kind of maniacal things I'm doing. But for my New Year's resolution, I decided I actually want to try going outside a little bit more. So that's what this video is for. And also this is gonna be one of the few times you see me in full HD. Cherish it while you can. So, fumbling. I'm sure that many of you have experienced it before, especially during the month of February, where it's most common to fumble or maybe get fumbled if your ego's that high. But what is fumbling? And to make this video seem more professional than it actually is, let's talk about the textbook definition of it. Once I find a good place to actually sit down, because it is really, 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 really hard walking and holding this at the same time. I'm really afraid of breaking it. So the textbook definition of fumbling, and I'm gonna be walking around, pacing around for this, because usually I do that in my room, so I'm outside, so I'm gonna take in the scenery for a second. It's basically the act of doing or handling something extremely clumsy, like being a klutz in other words. Let's say you're doing a track, you're doing a 1 mile run, and right when you're about to finish and get a PB, your personal best record time, you suddenly trip and then you fail all over. That's messing up. That's fumbling.
This isn't actually a good example of fumbling. I give a way better example in the video, just trust me.
It's essentially the act of messing up an opportunity. If you want like a more verbal example, Noodle, get the ball, I got. That's the best definition I got for right now. Let's move over here. Give me a second, I'm gonna move my camera. Ah, look at this, much better. Look at me right here. I look way better here. When you're fumbling, you're essentially embarrassing yourself. Typically it's when you have it in the bag and suddenly drop the bag for seemingly no explanation. Imagine you're clutching an Apex Legends with your red shield and such, and right when you're about to clutch and win, you somehow miss all of your shots and you just die. That's a good example of what fumbling is. Fumbling can expand to all topics and varieties in the world, but it's most commonly associated with one specific subject: relationships. It doesn't matter who you are or what you identify as, the act of fumbling follows us all like death itself. With the amount of connections people are making every day, either be in person or online via apps and such, some of them are going to be attracted to each other. This leads to conversations that bloom into possible relationships, and it's here where the act of fumbling most commonly occurs. You could be having the most beautiful conversation with someone, and then you accidentally mention pickles, how much you like them, and another person's like, I don't really like pickles, and so the conversation sort of dies off, and they stop talking to you because you mentioned pickles. So if you didn't mention pickles, nothing bad would have happened. So basically fumbled. Opportunity, zilch. I mean shattered, that's what the script says. You start talking about video games and so you say you play League, fumbled. Opportunity lost. Although you probably deserve that. Along with Valorant. Typically you hear things like I fumbled him or he fumbled me, and direct translation is more so I lost my opportunity with them. When someone says this usually means they view said person they fumbled as like worth the time and effort, you know, like they were so good, how could I fuck it up with them? They usually see them as higher up / better than them, and the vice versa can happen too. They fumbled me with you seeing yourself as higher than them and the opportunity they lost rather than the opportunity you lost. But what causes fumbling in the topic of relationships / potential relationships? Now I am not someone who has expertise in this topic, but you know who does? My friend. Now this friend, we can call him a variety of names. We can call him L, you can visualize Death Note if you want to, or you can call him Kazuya from Rent a Girlfriend because that's also him. He goes by many alter egos. So you choose whatever one you personally prefer. Now he has a lot more experience of dating than I do, mostly because he goes outside, hangs out, drives. The sky's really beautiful today. I should really go outside more. But since he's dated a lot more, he's attributed fumbling to one specific topic. Elvis. Give you a fucking straight face. Yeah, my friend literally gave me like a whole list of things to talk about, and I was debating whether to actually like legitimately talk about it or not, and I realized this is my video. I'm not trying to make some stupid ass cringy ass video. But actually, I will do one of these though, because it's really funny. It's like difference between W-Riz and L-Riz. Sigma on the wall. Who's the most skibbidiest of them all? Ah, well of course it's me because I have the most W-Riz of all time. You can leave now if you want. So what actually causes fumbling? And this is the part where I'm gonna go heavily off script. My script is basically gone at this point, so I'm just gonna have to improvise here. But so when it comes to fumbling, even just as a casual topic, not outside relationships and the like, I think the most important part about fumbling is the pressure and anxiety that comes from it. Because there's a lot of situations where we can look at it from an outside perspective, like sports and such. Imagine someone's, you know, baseball, they just need one more strike to hit a home run and such, but they completely fumble it because all the stress and anxiety. And when we look at it from an outside perspective, like, dude, I could have done that shit easily. And while that isn't exactly wrong, I think people really underestimate the pressure that can get to someone like that. For example, if you're unaware of how important something is, chances are you're not gonna be that stressed about. Like for example, let's say you're playing a game, but turns out the game you're playing actually determines the fate of the entire world. Now, if you don't know that, you're just gonna play the game normally. But if you do know that, your nerves are gonna get the better of you. You're gonna start freaking out like, Shit, holy. And so it causes you to increase the chance that you fumble. Now, fumbling it's not exactly the most like strict term, because obviously I'm talking about opportunities that you lost. Now, that isn't directly related to fumbling, but like that pressure and anxiety that gets to you is related to fumbling, because it's referring to an opportunity that you lost. It gets really scary once you're in the perspective of someone who actually has stakes in the matter. Like, for example, esports, and like, you know, let's say it's a really important game and you're about to, like, you know, you rank up or you win a bunch of money and you just aren't able to clutch it up because you're scared, your hands start shaking and such. And so you fumble the opportunity, and everyone like rightfully, you know, posts you on Twitter making fun of you, like, how the fuck do you miss all his shots like that? And it's sad, but you know, it's something that happens to everyone. And in the world of social media now, it's very easy for those fumbling situations to actually appear in public, because everyone's recording and shit. So you can't have shit in public anymore. All your faults and flaws. Oh God, they're everywhere. Now I could actually get into like the whole mental sense and how, you know, fumbling actually occurs, you know, why we fumble when we're getting put so much under pressure. But you know, using the term fumbling probably isn't the best way to describe it. You know, pressure, stakes. There's a term for that. I'm gonna search it up. I'm gonna search it up later so I can put it on screen here. But let's be real for a second. We've all had opportunities that we've lost in our life, mostly because we fumbled. Whoa. You can feel something a lot more small scale, like, you know, PE class, you know, dodgeball. You're the last one on your team, there's the last one on their team, and you know, it's a complete equal, and you have a perfect chance to, and everyone on your team is like depending on you, being like, bro, he cannot mess this up, bro. He cannot mess this up. He's got clutch so bad right now. And then you do it, and then you fail, and like, bro, fumbled the fucking game, bro. Oh my God, he is not gonna make it. And then we can get to more extreme stuff. Like, for example, this is gonna be kind of embarrassing from my end, but there were many editing opportunities back when I was editing for people that I could have taken full advantage of, but due to, like, you know, the pressure and stress and anxiety from both, like, you know, comparing myself to other editors, because, you know, I was still very insecure at the time, you know, comparing myself to other editors and be like, they're so much better than me. They can make videos faster than me. They can edit better than me as well. Like, that's the worst combo. They edit faster and better than me. It would completely F up my work schedule to the point that I was not able to produce videos for people. And even, like, you know, even big people that, like, you know, potentially wanted me to, I completely failed at, you know, like, the actual editing process because of that, you know, both, you know, the creator's status, you know, how high up they were, and also my own personal stuff. My own personal struggles. And I had a perfectly good chance too. Like, looking at it logically, I actually had in the bag. I had the skills. It's just my, you know, my mental sense. It wasn't exactly doing too hard, I guess you can call that a fumble. The definition of fumble seems to be a lot more looser nowadays. I mean, I most exclusively see it used for relationship topics, but I've also seen it be used really just for anything. Just if you fuck up anything, you fumbled, bro. You fumbled, bro. Like, you had a chance. And no, that's both real in a sense, but also, the term fumble seems a bit too casual. Like, you know, you can really seem to downplay it compared to other terms like messing up or anything like that. But fumbling sounds a lot more harsh because it really does imply that you had a chance there. And, you know, I don't like to look at too hard at the past now, especially in 2025. It's a new year. Let's not look too far back into that. But knowing there's a chance you had to actually be successful at something, and you failed just because of your nerves or any sort of external thing, and you know that if that, like, external thing wasn't there, you would have completely had it in the bag. Makes you think, you know, just a once in a lifetime moment, you know. And unfortunately, we can't go back on that because we can't go back in time, obviously. Let's be scientifically real for a second. But we can still use it to our advantage. And I think it's here where we should talk about, you know, relationship fumbling, because that is, you know, the subject that most people refer to fumbling as. And I'm gonna be using my friend's experience of fumbling, because fuck dude, he has a lot more experience than me. And you know, on this channel, I love talking about myself every single time. Every single video, I got insert some random BS about my thoughts, anything. Relationships, no, that's my no-no zone. So let's use my friend as a sacrificial pawn. So my friend, I'm gonna use Kazuya for this because, you know, 10 times funnier that way. But my friend has been in a multitude of relationships for like quite a long while now. And how many has he been in actually? I'm actually not too sure. It's like no, it might be double, triple, and actually wait, no, yeah. Dude, he's so many people. And it's not, he's not playing or anything like that. I'm actually gonna vouch for him. He just has really shitty luck, dude, not gonna lie. Like, you know, Nagito, Kamaeda, Danganronpa, like reverse that. Ultimate unlucky student. And you know, one thing that I've learned from him, talking about experience with fumbling and such, with relationships or potential relationships, is that, you know, you're gonna be learning something new every time. And I think that's a really important thing to like distinctly know about, because with relationships in specific, it's learning another person, learning to see how you can connect with another person, like electrons, or, you know, let's put our hands together and see what spots, you know, we're good on, what spots we're like, we suck on. I don't know what the fucking analogy I was going with this. But what I'm essentially trying to say is that a lesson you learn with one person can possibly or possibly not help you with another person, because those two people can be completely different or very similar. And the lessons you learn from either one can both help you and also not help you at the same time. Like, you know, for example, let's say you date a shy person and then you switch to an extrovert person. The lessons you learn from the shy person probably won't help with the extrovert person, besides, you know, some basic things like talk to a human being. You see what I don't know where I'm going with this. And my friend often taught me lessons about dating, and one of the big ones he taught me was, you know, every situation is gonna be different. And, you know, while there's some similarities you can use to, like, you know, build a base ground off, you know, Fortnite style, it's gonna be essentially new grounds every single time. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, because I don't have the experience with that, but I trust him. He's down.
Ohio.
So he's probably seen the depths of hell. And he shared some of his experiences before, like, you know, obviously he tried using lessons from, like, you know, one girl he dated to, you know, try to do with the other person, and then that didn't exactly work because the two weren't alike at all, so it didn't make it like compatible. And so, you know, he messed up there, and so that's a lesson he learned. Like, one thing that I learned from him was that, you know, sometimes things are out of your control. Like, sometimes you're gonna fumble just because you didn't know. Like, how the hell are we supposed to know that, you know, for example, mentioning pickles are gonna fucking destroy the entire, like, relationship? You wouldn't know that. No one's gonna know that. That's completely out of left field, you know? Like, sometimes you're just gonna fuck up, and sometimes it can be, you know, not your fault at all, or maybe it can be your fault because, you know, should I be talking about this? I don't know. Are you watching this video, Kazuya? But, you know, with someone with as much experience dating with other people, the moment you find someone that you like actually really click with, the pressure starts actually putting on you. Because, you know, when you like talk with a person that you actually feel like, I can actually make a connection with, I can actually be with this person, it's like, you know, I can see myself, you know, being with them and such, you start to subconsciously overthink things. And he's talked to me about this before, you know, like, you start trying to over-perfect yourself. And in the midst of doing that, you're probably going to trip on your own foot, essentially. What I'm trying to say is, like, for example, you had a bunch of experience dating other people, and then you meet this one other person that you're like, I want to be with this person, so I'm gonna scan over every single relationship, find every single thing that I did right, and, you know, just try to combine it all, mishmash it, like, you know, into something that can hopefully win their heart and such. And obviously, that's not the right solution, because, like I said earlier, everyone's different. And so, in the midst of the moment, that's the key term you have to know. Like, for this, if you're gonna take any point away from this video, in the midst of the moment, everything's gonna be irrational. And it's the reason why we should have, you know, friends and other third parties to help us out, because they're the outside perspective. I remember when I was talking about the outside perspective, seeing someone fumble, you're like, dude, I can totally fucking do that shit. And, you know, I think I was that someone. I don't know if I helped them or not. Maybe I set them up for failure, actually. In the midst of the moment, you're gonna be doing your absolute best to win this, to actually, you know, get this down, to, you know. And from my own personal experience, the moment you try to perfect something, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail really, but you're gonna fail extremely hard. It's one of the things where overthinking really kills something. And I have a lot of experience with overthinking. I have a lot of insecurities, and I also have anxiety, so definitely not like a really good combo. And for him, he got like a lot more interesting relationships I'm not like again to delve into. That's his privacy. But I'm gonna be exposing his privacy, because I'm gonna be talking about his privacy, because that's what this video is about. It's all about him. So the fact that he sees this one person that he can really vibe with, and he's like, I can actually see myself having, like, you know, a future with her, that's when the pressure and stress starts getting to you. Now, like, you know, obviously, let's reverse it here. If he didn't have any relationship, you know, from past, and he was kind of like, you know, I don't really do relationships and such, he, like, you know, obviously he wouldn't really have that much pressure and anxiety, like, no, I'm just gonna date, I'll see how it goes. But since he had the experience, he's like building it up, he's like, okay, so in this relationship, I kind of did this thing that kind of messed it up. And so in this relationship, you know, I hear some things that did pretty good, you know, stuff like that. Well, let me just combine it all, keep it all in my head, you know, that's gonna cause a clusterfuck. It is slightly a joke, take this with like a grain of salt, but, like, you know, when it comes to, like, you know, realizing that you have, like, something has a bunch of importance and such, going the nonchalant route can sometimes help a lot. Like, you know, my friend Kazuya is realizing how important this relationship can possibly be to him. But, you know, in order to, like, you know, actually ease himself, relax, Amori style, fear, hallucination, he's like, I don't really care. And you know, it's a valid strategy. It's a valid strategy, you know.
Obviously, don't take what most of what I say as advice. This strategy can only be used in certain scenarios, like every other strategy, because if you act like you don't care, the other person might think, well, this person doesn't care, fuck this dude. If my friend's watching this video, I'm sorry for painting you in a horrible light. It's gonna keep happening.
If you pretend that there's not many stakes in it, then chances are you might not let, you know, your intrusive thoughts, you know, invade in order to like, you know, be like, it's gotta be this, it's gotta be this perfect, it's gotta be this perfect, it's gotta be this perfect, blah, 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 you know how it is. Now I'm gonna be real. I made up like 30% of like the things I said because I don't know his entire love life, but you know, from the implications I've gotten from his messages, it seems like, you know, we're all subject to like, you know, the own torture of like our biggest enemy, ourself. That was a banger ass quote, wasn't it? I stole it off of Google. And so the whole reason this video exists because when me and him were talking, he like initially got off the girl. He was like, bro, I cannot fumble this girl. I swear to love God, I cannot fumble her. And I was like, I have faith in you, I have hope in you. You've been pretty good for yourself. But let me make a consequence for you if you actually do fumble her. If you fumble her, I will make a video talking about fumbling. And I will specifically mention you, either indirect or directly. You will be integral to this video. You will be part of this video. You will be essential to this video. And he was like, bet. So this video wasn't initially gonna be made, but keep this in mind. Literally 1 week later, he fumbled her. And this is where I come in. And it doesn't even matter that he got back to the goal because he still fumbled. He dropped the bag. And even though he picked up the bag is still ripped. And that's why I made this video. Because I keep true to my promises, and two, it'd be really funny just to talk about all this, you know? I'm outside.
Okay, so update. He didn't just fumble the girl. He also fumbled his pullout game. He's gonna be a father. Yeah, I'm not sure how to segue back to the video, so I'm just gonna stop talking.
But yeah, that's the whole reason this video was made. You know, just to talk about fumbling and such, messing up, losing up our opportunities. Talk about his experience with fumbling, because I have no fumbling. I have 100% win rate. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have any faults. I'm perfect. That's a joke, by the way. That's sarcasm. Like, there's a ton of things I need to improve myself on. You know, I got a whole New Year's resolution. Don't worry. Don't be a static character. Be someone who grows upon themselves. Or something like that. But you know, I don't want to end it off just like, you know, talking about my friend's misery and such. That's kind of rude. And he's actually one of my best friends. I'm going to be seeing him like soon, actually. And the last thing I personally want to talk about is not what fumbling does to us, but what it can do for us. You know, let's not talk about what racism does to us. Let's talk about what racism can do for us. Who's texting me? No, it's Chloe. Hi, Chloe. She posted like her Rin photo. Yeah. You know, not all of us are born perfect, you know. Like some people, like me, are, but I'm like, all of us aren't born perfect. We have things to improve, but in order to realize what things we need to improve on, we need to first recognize our faults. And in order to recognize our faults, we need to make mistakes. We need to have failures. And you can, and if you take in basic philosophy, you probably know where I'm gonna go with this. It's very important that we fumble, that we make mistakes, that we know what it's like to have something right in the bag and just let go because, you know, stress and pressure and such. Like, for example, the more we do something, the more we get accustomed to it, you know? Like, for example, I fumble an Apex Legends game at the very end, but if I keep playing Apex Legends and get to the end, like, you know, closer and closer every time, my nerves and, you know, stress is probably gonna, like, you know, reduce over time because I'm more used to the experience and such. And so, you know, it won't be that much of a big of a deal. And you know, everyone needs to be humbled at some point, right? And even from a general sense, it should be good to fumble because we can learn from that fumbling and, you know, use that experience to help us next time. And I'm not talking about like, you know, the whole relationship thing. I'm talking about the actual nerves, the stress. Like, for example, going to conventions. That's a good one, that's a good one. This isn't exactly fumble related, but it's like, it's more so related to the feeling of doing something over and over to the point that you get a lot more comfortable with it. Like, for example, when I went to conventions, I was scared as fuck. You know, I was filled with people I didn't know. I brought my friend I brought my friend Druff to, you know, chill with me. And it was still scary, you know, going to this whole new place, this whole new area, a bunch of people that I didn't recognize. That was also pretty scary. But the more I went to conventions, the more I got eased into talking, you know, to getting to know more people, getting close to people that, you know, I initially just talked to at conventions. Like, for example, Chloe, I talked to like Wasabi, then Kimura just passed by. Then starting from like Fan Expo and beyond, like we got a lot more close and I'm really happy for that. And you know, it's like one of those things where you do things over and over to ease yourself into it. And I guess the same example can be felt here. The act of fumbling, the act of messing up when you had it in the bag. The more often you do that, the more well, the more depressing that's gonna be. How do you keep fumbling the bag? But you're gonna know the feeling of, you're gonna know the feeling of constantly, like, constantly having it and then just dropping it. And like over time, you'd be like, okay, I'm starting to figure out why I keep fumbling. It's because the stress and the pressure that I have, I need to, it's the stress and pressure I have on this specific task. Like, if I do this, I'm gonna be successful and such. So why don't I just start developing new methods to try to sort of avoid that sort of mindset? Like, for example, the whole nonchalant method that my friend Kazuya does, but yeah, acts nonchalant. He doesn't like care about the consequences, but he pretends not to care about the consequences. It helps him, helps ease him to like the mindset where the chances of him fumbling won't be that high because he's not worried about the pressure. It's like shit.
Also, sometimes you could just be horrible and suck and do bad things, and then you deserve to fumble. Go reflect in the mirror. And
I've been talking about fumbling in the general sense that, it's the things that we do because of the pressure and stress in our brains that cause us to fumble. But, obviously, again, sometimes fumbling can be completely out of left field. It can be something that we didn't expect at all. Like in the whole pickle example that I used earlier. Sometimes we may just say something that just completely fumbles. maybe we just say something that completely fucks with the situation, like saying, I'm a Persona fan. It gets blocked. Yeah, I deserve that one. But that's just one example of it. And honestly, it'd be more interesting to talk about fumbling in a more mental sense rather than just, doesn't really make that for that much of an interesting video. But I'm saying it's just good to fail. And obviously I'm saying that come from experience that has failed multiple times. And it still is good to fail / to fumble opportunities and such because, it just helps us. Obviously we all need to suffer a little bit to be human. And that sounds really fucking depressing as shit. But if anyone suffered and gotten overcame it, you probably know what I mean. For example, you'd be like, would you remove this traumatic event from your life? And it's like, well, it would remove a ton of pain, but at the same time, I grew a lot from it, and I learned a lot from it. And it's made me who I am today. So I probably wouldn't do that. And it's the same thing with fumbling and such. If you fumble a bad bitch, as they say, that's gonna stick with you, and you're gonna learn a lot from that. Just like I already experienced of actually fumbling someone that amazing, or learning how to get W Riz, as they say. I can't do this shit unironically. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about. And especially during the month of Valentines, I'm sure that many of you are shooting your shot, as you say, doing air balls, as they say. And obviously, I'm sure a ton of you are failing, and I don't mean that in a negative way in the slightest. That's just the way it is in life, and I do hope you're able to overcome that when if you have tried shooting your shot and they reject you and such. Okay, I understand. And hopefully this video can help you with understanding, trying to find the better part of, fumbling and such. Because obviously there's a bunch of negatives from fumbling, but maybe there is something positive that comes out of it, Besides the experience, there's a lot of learning you can do from it. There's a lot of, techniques you can learn from fumbling to not maybe fumble again. The feelings of, try not to let it get to you in a sense. Everything that happens to us in life, we can use it as experience points. Video games. Persona, I'm getting blocked, aren't I? You tell I don't go outside, all I do is make video game references. This is horrible. I watched Sonic 3 with my family. I'm like, shit, am I just Sonic? The Sonic in the movie verse, not even the game verse, the movie verse. I'm so cooked. Konnichi, what? But yeah, I just want to lend a helping hand in the month of February to, hopefully maybe say some of the thoughts that you have in your mind. Like I said, I made this video entirely on a whim because my friend fumbled, so I'm like, shit, I should probably record this. But I did want to make this actually personal in a sense and, to help people out and not just, make fun of my friend for 20 minutes. So yeah, I don't know, I try not to get too parasocial, but with, stuff like this regarding fumbling, and I know the exact feeling of failing and such, but it's gonna be okay. I don't know what that means coming from me. These videos don't really get many views anyway, but yeah, that's all I want to say. It's gonna be okay. And I thought there were some things that happened to me that I thought I was actually gonna completely explode over. It'll get better. It'll get better. And, especially if you just fumble the situation right now. I don't know, man. I haven't fumbled. I'm 100% cool because I don't talk to people. That's a joke. That's a joke. And I'm not like my friend. From the way I've been staying for you, it seems like he's a player. He constantly goes through people, and that's not true. That's not true the slightest. He just has a really shitty life. But if there's anything you can learn from him, is that life can get better. you can still make mistakes and such, and you're still gonna make mistakes, but you're also gonna have really good moments in your life that are gonna make it, you know, all the more worth it and such. Like I said before, the situation, like, you know, he fumbled with the girl, but he's still with the girl. So I mean, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Is that what people call it? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, this is a video I don't really usually do. I'm usually inside. It's really cold outside. I'm starting to get cold here, so I do want to get back home like ASAP. But yeah, I don't usually do these types of videos, but I would like to actually, legitimately. I want to do vlogs and such, but that'll come for later. I'm going back to my regular, indoor videos after this point. It is cold. Let me get the camera out. Birds are quirking everywhere, bro. Hello there. All right, so I'm gonna get my stuff out. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna do my last final messages for you. Firstly, if you've been here this entire time, I just wanna say thank you for watching this, you know, listening this far. You know, it's basically just been a you and me situation. You and I, just a you and I situation. Just you and I. You and I. I and you. Yeah, that's all I wanna talk about. It's the month of February. Hopefully you can cuff someone, as they say. I still don't know what that word term means. It just means like getting with someone in the month of February. I don't know. People say like, you know, you should get cuffed this season. I actually don't know what it means. But yeah, I'm gonna walk home now. Hope you guys enjoyed. I already said everything I want to say, but just, look guys.